guys, welcome back to Boots and Bounty Homestead. If you're new around here, my name is Casey, and this is going to be a video that's part of my Keeping It Fresh collaboration. So I started this back July 15th. I announced it May 15th, and we did the first collaboration July 15th. And so in the playlist below, I've got all of those videos linked. So this next one, of course, is today, August 15th. And I'm going to go out here and show you what I'm going to be using. Now, the one I actually have to use is already inside because of the simple fact, when I come out here to harvest this vegetable, I had 3 that were ready. So I pulled off the 3 that were ready, and one of the stems snapped off. And with it being where the stem had snapped off, I need to go ahead and use it. For the simple fact that it's not going to last as long. Whenever you do, of course, my vegetable is these butternut squash right here. Whenever you use a long-term storage squash, such as a winter squash of any kind, you have to leave the stem on it as long as possible to get it to last as long as possible. So, since that one snapped off like right at the end of the fruit, I need to go ahead and use that one. But I did want to come out here and show you guys real quick how to know when the winter squash is ready. Of course, these are my butternut squash. I have this one, and this one. Now, this and the other long one right here are the tromboncinos. I am leaving them to become a winter squash because they are dual purpose. You cut them first early in the summertime, eat them like a zucchini, or you can leave them as a winter squash. So that's what I'm doing right now, is leaving those tromboncinos as a winter squash. But back to the butternut squash. Whenever you get ready to harvest these, what you need to do is to be able to check to see if they're done, just take your fingernail and press on the skin. If it leaves an indentation, it's not ready yet. So as I'm pressing, it's actually not leaving much of an indentation at all. So these may be ready probably next week. Now the one I have inside is really orange, and it is really ready to be used. So I will show you that one, but I did want to show you, since that was one of my kind of rules, instructions of the video, you need to see where it comes from. So this is where it come from, and it probably actually come off the vine like right here. And because there was like 3 over here and then 3 over here, and I've harvested 3 of them. So this is where they come from, and it is a jungle out here. But anyways, let's go inside and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with it. Okay, so we're in the kitchen now. Let me show you the butternut squash that we harvested. And like I said, it snapped off right here at the fruit, so we need to go ahead and use this one. Like I was saying with the skin, if you push on it with your fingernail and it doesn't leave an indentation, it is ready. Of course, it's going to be hard. So that's the difference in a summer squash and a winter squash. The summer squash is what you're going to use, soft and tender. Winter squash, you grow at the same time, but you're going to have to let the skin harden in order to store over the winter time. So what we've got to do with this butternut squash is we're going to have to prepare it. We've got to peel it and dice it up. So I'm going to get that done real quick. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and tell you the rest of the ingredients, and you can kind of play this by ear and kind of make it your own. So we're going to need some black beans. I don't have any more home canned, so I'm going to use store-bought. And enchilada sauce. You can also use spaghetti sauce if you have it. But this is my home canned enchilada sauce. I will put a link to it up here if I have the video posted. I believe I did one last year. And then you're going to need some spices. So since this is Monday, we're going to do a meatless Monday kind of dish. But you can also go ahead and throw in any kind of ground meat, or if you want to do some fajita meat, chicken, steak, whatever you want to do, you can throw that in here as well. Now for the rest of it, you're going to need a little bit of oil to saute some onions and garlics. You can put in peppers if you would like. Then you're going to need some seasoning. Now, I'm actually going to fix this recipe, and then I'm going to show you 3 ways to use it. So this is a 3-way kind of dish that I'm going to show you how to incorporate all 3 ways. You're also going to need some spices, which will be your taco seasonings, some cumin, some chili powder, whatever you want to put in it, paprika, salt and pepper, whatever you would like to incorporate into it in whatever amounts you would like to put in your recipe. You also need some toppings, which includes your cheese, sour cream, cilantro, any kind of garnishments if you want to put some extra salsa on it, whatever you, or fresh jalapenos, fresh peppers, whatever you want to put on top of it, you can do that. So let's go ahead and get started in making this dish. So with this squash, we're going to go ahead and dice it up. Now, this has to be treated kind of like sweet potatoes in the thickness. So, of course, like I tell Emma, the thinner you cut it, the less time it's going to take to cook. Now, disclaimer, I have never in my life had butternut squash. I have never cooked it, never handled it, and up until this year, I've never grown it. So, if you have any suggestions about anything I'm doing, please let me know in the comments. But we are going to just dice this up. And I thought about roasting it, but for this recipe, it's being cooked in a skillet. So I didn't want to just overdo it and it become mush. So that's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. So we've got our butternut squash cut up. Now I'm not going to use all of this because the recipe I'm kind of going by only says to use about 3 cups of the butternut squash. So I'm going to use half of this and the other half I'm going to save and throw in another dish this week. And so that way it's already prepped and I don't have to do this again. So let's go ahead and get out a big cast iron skillet and we're going to get to cooking. So let's go ahead and we're going to oil the skillet 2 to 3 tablespoons generously so it doesn't stick, just in case your skillet is not seasoned well. We're going to turn this on medium high and be letting it warm up before we put the squash in it. Alright, so let's go ahead and put about half of this in here. I've started to see the oil kind of make those ripples, so that means it's getting hot. Alright, let's do about that much. And I will put the rest of this in a bag shortly. Now while this is warming up, let's go ahead and rinse off our black beans. Now you can use 1 or 2 cans of black beans, or you know, whatever you want to, the amount, however you want to mix it up. If you need more butternut squash, if you need less beans, you can do this however you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and open up 1, drain it, and let me see what that looks like. The recipe does call for 1, but I just want to see what it looks like first before I say that I'm only going to use 1 and then I want more. Go ahead and add some minced onion. Now if you wanted to use regular onion, you would go ahead and do your onion and garlic. If you wanted to saute them first, then you could do that before you put in the butternut squash. I'm not going to cut up any onion right now. I'm just going to go ahead and use minced onion since it's already prepared here. And you can use minced garlic, or you can use garlic powder if you choose. You can also use onion powder if you would like. So there's a little bit of garlic powder. I'm also going to go ahead and add in some cumin. Cumin is one of those that I really like. And then some chili powder. Usually about the same amount of cumin and chili powder. Then go ahead and let those flavors be cooking into our vegetables here. And of course some salt and pepper. Stir this around. If you start to see that any vegetables are sticking on the bottom, you can either add a little bit more oil, cut it down, or go ahead and add in your sauce, which a lot of these spices and stuff will kind of absorb that water. So let's go ahead at this time, if you see that happening, let's go ahead and add the enchilada sauce. Alright, I'm going to turn this down on medium, and I do have a lid to fit this, so I'm going to go ahead and cover mine and let it simmer, probably medium low, for 5 to 10 minutes. We'll just have to start and check on it. Keep that moisture in there to cook the butternut squash. See you back in a second. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. I went ahead and got the stove and everything cleaned up while we were waiting. And everything's looking good. Now at this time, because depending on the size that you cut your squash, it's going to depend on the cooking time. So right now we need to find one of the biggest ones, and I see one of the biggest ones right here. And we need to make sure that it's done. So I stuck my fork in there, and it is fork tender. Yep, everything seems to be like it is doing good. Now, I said we are doing 3 recipes with this, so let me show you what. So, of course, the first one and the most obvious, they're all going to be done with tortillas. But you can make a burrito out of this and then do any kind of toppings that you want. The second one, you can do quesadillas, where you put one in a smaller skillet and then put a topping, put your filling on the inside, put one on top, and then just brown it on both sides, making a quesadilla. Or you can do the third, which is what we're going to do tonight, and kind of do like a 1 skillet combination dish. And we're actually going to put the tortillas in it. So we're going to cut these in strips, kind of like the tortilla noodles. And we're going to put the strips in this, and then that way we can just eat it out of a bowl or off a plate, and then top it with all of the toppings that we want. So we are going to use, probably going to start out with about 4 of these. I use this kind, it's upside down, sorry. I use this kind because it is low carb, and we are just going to use 4 to begin with, and then let me see what that looks like. Now at this time it's still cooking because I want to put the tortillas in there while it's still cooking so they can absorb some of that liquid. Okay, so I'm just going to line my tortillas up here and then get my knife and then cut some strips. I'm going to do probably about 1/2 inch strips because I don't want them to be so overpowering. I'm going to leave the outsides like this. Just throw them in there. Then the rest of them I'm going to cut into about 2 or 3 inch little strips. Just 2 or 3 inches. Just kind of eyeball it as you go across your tortilla because they will be, you know, kind of different lengths. So we're just going to put those in there. Let them start cooking. You can even do these smaller if you want. You can do like little 1/2 inch squares or cubes or whatever you want. Alright, that's about 1/2 of them. I'm going to go ahead and stir that in real quick. Just so it doesn't get to where I can't handle them. And this will start absorbing some of that extra liquid. Just let it get all cooked together and marry. Alright, let's add the rest of them. Once you get it all mixed in, go ahead and cover it. Cut it off. And I am going to go ahead and cover it and let it sit for about 5 minutes just to kind of incorporate all together. guys, so here is this recipe. You can use 3 different ways. Go out and try it. It is similar to the sweet potato and black bean chili that I made. This just has enchilada sauce in it. I will link that video as well for you guys. We just topped ours with cheese and sour cream. We're just gonna go enjoy. So I hope you enjoy this as well, and we will see you next time. Bye guys.